Hi everybody, thanks for joining me on what I hope to be a new series. I started videos like this back during when the pandemic hit, and I intended to make a series of them then, and if 2 episodes constitutes a series, I guess mission accomplished. But it's been a few years and I thought I'd try my hand at it again, this time under a new moniker. So, if you haven't figured it out yet, today we're going to be looking at Paperboy, a classic game, a remnant of the 1980s. Not known to all, Paperboy actually had its origin in an arcade game in 1985, but it was by and large ported to many other systems. One of those being, of course, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, which it was released for at the end of 1988. Now, you might also be thinking, well, why should I watch your video? I mean, lots of people have done video reviews like this before. Well, that's a great question. So what's going to set my videos apart from others? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be looking at ROM hacks. What is a ROM hack exactly, you might be wondering? Well, a ROM hack is any time that an existing ROM, which could be thought of as the code of the game itself in this case, is modified specifically to change something. Now, this particular ROM hack, which I'll have the link for down below, is strictly what's called a palette change. So, as I mentioned before, Paperboy originated as an arcade game. This ROM hack is strictly graphical. All it does is change the appearance so that it's more in line with the original arcade game. So, without further ado, let's take a look. As we kick off the game, you'll be given a color-coded map that designates your subscribers, which are always the light-colored houses, and your non-subscribers, which are always the dark-colored houses. You'll also be told the day of the week each time. You have to get through 1 full week in this first game. As we start the game, I'm going to make 2 general recommendations. The first is that you should be holding up on your controller the entire time, going maximum speed. You'll see how this comes in useful as time goes on. The other thing is you want to get on the sidewalk as quickly as you can. A lot of times the sidewalk is blocked and you can only come in when the curb is lower. So instead, you want to get there as soon as you can. There are going to be some obstacles on the sidewalk, but you won't have to worry about cars. As we come up on our first house, you'll see that it is light-colored and therefore is a subscriber. Another way to tell subscribers, at least at first, is the fact that they also possess a mailbox. As you might be able to guess, you get the most points by dropping the paper into the mailbox. Now, papers can be launched by either pressing A or B. However, I tend to not like to throw them into the mailbox of this particular type of house, because if you notice, right by is a window, and breaking a window on a subscriber's house instantly makes you lose them as a subscriber. So I'm gonna launch it at the porch, which has a much wider hitbox and is a much safer bet. We'll get less points, but overall we'll keep them as a subscriber. The next house that we arrive at is dark and is therefore not a subscriber, so we don't want to be shooting anything at it. You can, in fact, get points with non-subscriber houses by breaking their windows. You get 300 points for each window that you break. But on Monday, paper refills are very scarce, and you want to be very conservative. So really only save your papers just for going to subscriber houses and also any obstacles that you might run into. Again, the paper refills, they're just not the way that they show up in later days. So use your papers only when necessary. If you show up to a subscriber house and you're out of papers, you're out of luck and you've lost them. We have an obstacle to avoid, so we're going to make sure that we drive around that, all the while still holding up maximum speed this whole game until special circumstances that we'll look at later. Now on this next subscriber house, you'll notice that the porch and the mailbox are pretty much in the same hitbox just about. So go ahead and aim for that mailbox and get those higher points. Another thing you may notice as I'm traveling through this level is that I'm sticking to the left side, the grass side of the sidewalk, and that is why. That skateboarder can come out of nowhere with no warning. So make sure you're not sticking to the curb side where you're more likely to get hit by him. Here you'll see that I am deviating from the main sidewalk to go and pick up a paper refill. Now these are very important, especially on a Monday. Paper refills will take your paper satchel, whatever number it's at, instantly takes it back to its maximum of 10. You also get a little bit of points for it. these are always going to be high priority for you to pick up. There are going to be some situations later on in the week where you're going to have to make a tough decision whether to pick one up or avoid it in order to avoid taking a hit from some certain obstacle. But it is Monday, so we have no excuse. Make sure you go and get that thing. Now we have to cross the street. That might seem a little daunting, but I guarantee you, if you hold up the entire time as I've told you to, you will always avoid the hot rodders. No worries there. And then we just continue with it being business as usual. Now, I've stopped here for a moment to illustrate an obstacle you're going to have to throw a paper at. You've got a dog here. Fun fact, as a kid, I always thought the limited palette made it look more like a cat. Of course, a barking cat might be a little weird. But at any rate, whenever you approach a dog like this, you need to get on its right side as soon as possible because it will try to chase you. So all you got to do is throw a paper at it. You don't get any points, but you will stop it in its tracks. That is necessary because otherwise it can also block you from sending papers where you need to later on. Let's do a little bit of maneuvering around this last house, make sure not to hit the signpost, and since it was the last house, I know I can waste a paper on a little extra point by throwing at that stonework. I'll cross the street one more time using our hold up tactic that we've been employing this whole time, and now we'll enter what ends every level of the training course. Now the training course, the best way to get through it is to mash both A and B at the same time because you'll throw double paper sometimes. And at that point, just aim for the hoops and the brackets that are popping up and go for any ramp that you can. If you crash in the training course, no worries, you do not lose a life. You do get 100 points for every second left on the clock. And then we go to our daily report. How do we do? A resubscriber means every current subscriber was properly delivered to and we get a new subscriber. Sadly, this isn't the Japanese version, so you don't get any extra lives. You start with 3, and that's all you'll ever get. And now Tuesday begins. Let's kick things off. Remember from the daily report, it was the first non-subscriber that was flashing indicating a resubscriber. So this is the first house that is converted from a non-subscriber to a subscriber. Wow, isn't it really nice of them to repaint their entire house in one day just to show that? Wow, that's customer devotion right there. At any rate, also watch out for that skateboarder coming up. So again, stay on the grass side of the sidewalk. Now, any former non-subscriber that becomes a subscriber will not have a mailbox attached to it. So you're only going to have a porch hitbox. So in this case, you're going to be aiming strictly for the door. You may now notice a new obstacle creeping up on you because it's Tuesday, tornadoes. Stay on the grass side and maybe even inch a little bit to the left slightly to avoid them best. As it is Tuesday, I'm also going to be making more liberal use of my papers. There are lots of obstacles that you can fire at. Don't go too trigger happy, not until later on in the week. You don't want to be losing those subscribers. But gravestones, trees, really anything that looks hittable, throw a paper at it and you're going to get some bonus points. Also, don't forget about those points on the non-subscriber's house. That one's a little hard to hit though, so I'm going to avoid that. Also, don't forget, whenever you've got paper refills, go for them. You do not want to run out of papers. But don't forget to throw at subscribers at the same time. Watch out for those go-karts as well. They like to be tricky on you. Tuesday is now complete. Let's go through the training course. Remember, double hit A and B at the same time, throw maximum papers. You may notice, every time you hit a ring, your papers will refill. They will also refill when you hit a ramp, like right there. Watch out for that moving ramp. Ooh, well, that didn't end so well, but that's okay. Remember, you do not lose a life in the training course. So far, I seem to have a perfect game going on here, which is awesome. That would mean every single subscriber is delivered to every day, and no lives are lost. Even though I fell in the training course, that's okay. It doesn't cost you a life. I've only ever succeeded at getting a perfect game twice in my life, I believe. So let's see if I can go for a hat trick this time. Watch out for those spinning tires. They like to suddenly turn and then bank right towards you. Lawnmowers are out of control as well, so avoid those as best you can. They always follow a predictable pattern. And of course, what Paperboy journey would be complete without a visit from the Grim Reaper? As if they don't have enough things to worry about, am I right? Can I make it this time? Yes. However, you do want to be holding right if that's the path that you're going to take, because if you hold right, you get to pass by 2 more rings. You're more likely to, at least, and you'll get to have a shot at throwing papers through them and getting more points. Didn't work for me this time, but there's always next time. 3 for 3, the perfect run continues. How long can I hold out? Well, still got 4 more days to get through. Here comes Thursday right at us. You're going to notice now as the week progresses, the obstacles become much more concentrated. We just hit about 5 in a row right there, so make sure your maneuvering is on point. Above all, make sure you're hitting your subscribers. But don't forget, try to hit some obstacles as well. Windows, bushes, whatever you can. And there we have a double dose of death, both the Grim Reaper and the Tornado. Maneuver as best you can, keep going. Once again, I wasn't able to bank right and clear those 2 rings, but that's okay. As long as I'm still hitting there with 26 seconds to go, I'll still get my 2,600 points. Another perfect day in the bag. How much longer can I keep this streak going? I've still got 3 days to go. Luck be with me, I hope. Now I've paused here for a moment to illustrate this is a different type of house that we haven't had converted from a non-subscriber yet. This one has a difficult hitbox to deal with. In this case, the porch itself is actually hidden. You're going to want to be throwing early on this one, earlier than you would have on other houses. Really, you want to be aiming right past that first window that's facing the street. Right past that first window is where you want to go. If you throw much later than that, it's going to land, but it will not count. Pressure is on as I'm now 5 for 5. Saturday and Sunday are left and then the game is over. Can I get to all 17 subscribers? Let's see what the weekend has in store. And there goes my perfect run. I was late on my throw, dodging all those obstacles, and broke a window, and that's an instant loss of subscriber. Well, history won't be made with me for a third time here, but that's alright. I'm still pretty happy with this run. Let's see how it plays out. Didn't fall for that time, though. Got that one in the bag. Entering the training course on Saturday. Still haven't lost a life, which is pretty good. You've seen how the obstacles have piled up, some fancy maneuvering is necessary, but still pulling it off. And still have not been doing too good at banking right on that last movable ramp, but 26 seconds to go, and we're getting closer to 6 digits. A pretty good run would succeed in doing so by the end. And as we shamefully get to the daily report here, we will see a subscriber has been lost. So, like before, with subscribers turning into light-colored houses, this one is going to go dark. And now the final day begins. Boom, down I go. If breaking that window earlier hadn't done it, this would have also been the end of the perfect run. But going 6 days without crashing? It's not terrible, I guess. Of course, that also may be why I am the average video gamer. Here we come upon our first and only former subscriber that went dark and became a non-subscriber. Good thing it's Sunday, because that sure didn't go well, now did it? Watch out if you ever get forced off the sidewalk, because those grates will knock you down. And that's the first time I've actually had to stop hitting up. Between the grate and the Grim Reaper coming at me, needed to adjust a little bit, just to play it safe. Now that I'm in the training course, I can be assured that I can take a victory lap. Even if I were to fall here, wouldn't count against me, and I still have 2 lives left, as you can see by the red caps beneath the paper satchel diagram. And I did manage to hit 6 digits by the end. Not too shabby. As we go through the report, we know we're not going to see a resubscriber. So, a perfect game would have ended with 17 houses lit up, but instead, we're gonna retire in glory. That's how this works? You work for 1 week and then you get to retire? What kind of system is this? Where have I been all this time? Well, at any rate, that is Paperboy with this palette improvement ROM hack. As you'll also see, you can now enter your initials to go into the top 10, but like many other NES games of the day, it resets anytime you turn off the console. So you can have your bragging rights, but you might want to take a picture. And that was Paperboy. Well, I thank you all for joining me. Hope you enjoyed what you saw. I'll be throwing some more stuff your way in just a little bit, hopefully. So until next time,